the medicines that escalate macabre for the mouth.
So he had this theory about this orgone energy, but you can't prove it because you can't really see it. Well, yeah, because it's fake. But he wanted to be able to prove that it was out there. So he built a sex box, is what they came to be known in the media. But it was basically like a Faraday cage. And then but he called it an orgone accumulator. So they were like big plywood boxes, like human-sized plywood boxes. They just had a chair and sometimes a little window inside. And they were aligned with like rock or sheet iron or something, like a bunch of layers of that, because the more layers of whatever on the walls, the more concentrated the orgone energy you could catch was. So you would just take off all your clothes and then sit in these boxes.
Maybe this dude just had like a rapidly evolving fetish spectrum. Like he just, every week he would wake up and something new, like, okay, well, apparently now I can't finish unless people are in cages. That's my new thing. And they're are in cages and looking for space energy. That's the only way I can finish.
That's what the window was for, so you can just peer through it.
How things come along in there.
You feeling the energy?
That's not
feeling good?
That's not a camera on you. That's another organoscope.
Don't move, though. Don't move.
Though. It's a daguerreotype, so it's going to take a little while.
So we've already said that he got too weird for Freud. He actually, during this
Too Weird for Freud's the name of my first album, by the way.
During this time period, he made friends with Einstein. Because he was buddies with Einstein, and nobody believed him about his sex boxes, he sent one to Einstein and said, check this, you're a scientist, check out this sex box.
Check out the sex box.
And then tell everybody that it works. And to his credit, Einstein really did try to find some sort of energy differential, within and outside of the box, above and below the box. I mean, he really did try to evaluate it to see if it had any merit.
Okay, everybody, if you have gotten nothing else from Sawbones, right now, I want you to go to Twitter or Facebook and say, today I learned on Sawbones that our greatest scientific mind spent an afternoon looking for cosmic sex energy. Because what? And then put a link to our show. What? Albert Einstein could have done anything that day. He could have done anything, but he decided to look for cosmic sex energy in a box.
Do you know how many mysteries of the universe are unsolved because of the day he wasted examining this box?
He could have cracked anything. He could have cracked how to instantly warm your car when you go outside during the winter. He could have cracked anything, but instead he spent the afternoon looking for cosmic sex energy.
And this is why time travel doesn't exist yet.
Exactly. One more day, and he would have had it. Oh my God, it's Albert Einstein. I'm disappointed in you.
There was one particular recipe that I liked, which was if you could find the flesh of a cadaver of a man who was reddish or had reddish hair, something red, and if he was around 24 and dead from violence, not an illness, and then you cut it into chunks, and then you added some myrrh and a little bit of aloe, and then soaked it in wine for several days, that would be really good for just about anything you can come up with.
Or nothing. Maybe.
Or getting you arrested.
Yeah. Nauseating
or a psychiatric evaluation.
Right.
Or if you don't like that,
alienating your parents.
You could just take his heart and pulverize it, and then take 1 dram on an empty stomach if you get dizzy.
Wow. I mean, I don't know if that would impact my dizziness at all, but I have some light nausea.
What I don't understand is, how dizzy are you?
Yeah, I don't know the point of dizziness where you go from, whoa, I better sit down, to, whoa, I better eat somebody. I better eat a mummy.
I've never been that dizzy in my entire life.
You need me to help you up? No, just give me a mummy flesh.
Can you just give me some mummy real quick?
Do we have a mummy around the house? I'm emergently dizzy.
Go down to the druggist and purchase a mummy. If you could,
why can't they get how are these people finding mummies? And why are they eating them?
I don't know. Because I don't know.
What did they think their grandchildren were gonna do if they ate all the mummies?
It really shows a lack of foresight, you know?
Mummies aren't a renewable resource.
Yeah, clearly mummies like oil and coal are all going to go away someday.
You know, for every mummy you eat, you got to plant 2 mummies. That's the only way demummization is gonna keep us sustainable.
So this was a surgeon, a Scottish surgeon, lived from 1794 to 1847. He's famous for, well, many things, but he was the first surgeon in Europe to use anesthesia after it had already been used in the USA first.
What?
That's right.
Brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue, baby.
But he was known as the fastest knife in the West End. So what he was known for, other than I think his personality, was for being able to amputate a leg in 2.5 minutes. Now, speed, of course, was important because the patients weren't asleep. So getting through the procedure quickly had some value, but it's obviously not the only concern. And Robert Liston could attest to that, as he, in one case, and he cited his 4 best cases. And he knew what he was saying when he said best, so he had a sense of humor about himself. In one, he accidentally amputated the patient's testicles along with his leg.
Yikes!
But he did it in 2.5 minutes.
Still, I mean, that's great timing. That's sort of like when Pizza Hut brings it in under 30 minutes, but there's anchovies on it. It's the same sort of problem.
I don't think it's like, there's anchovies on it. I think it's like, instead of opening a box and finding a pizza with anchovies, you open the box and find a human head.
You open a box and find your testicles in there. Hey.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, he cut his testicles off. And you have to know they couldn't sew those back on. And not then.
Another case he cited as one of his best?
This is his best case of all time. So during the procedure, he accidentally amputated his surgical assistant's fingers. And as he was wildly slashing about, is all I can imagine, he also sliced through the coattails of a wealthy observer who had paid to come witness the fastest knife in the West End. And the observer, upon being attacked with the scalpel, actually dropped dead on the site.
Fantastic.
Now, the patient on whom he was operating, went on to die from gangrene, as did many patients at the time. And the surgical assistant whose fingers he sliced off also died of gangrene. So this was probably the only surgery in history that had a 300% mortality. So how can you best make sure that you get the cholera bacteria?
I don't know.
We'll find somebody who had cholera.
Oh, and just like hang out near them and like smooch them maybe, or...
Well, do you know, this might help. Do you know what cholera causes?
No.
How the disease manifests?
I'm sorry.
Massive diarrhea. That's the easiest way to explain it. Massive, watery diarrhea until you dehydrate to death. Except now we can fix it and save your life. But back then we couldn't.
That book would not have sounded as good if it was called Love in the Time of Pooping Yourself to Death. That would not be as good of a title.
Cholera is not a romantic disease, even though people like to make it one. No, you poop yourself to death.
Okay.
Which is very sad, but...
Wait a minute.
Yeah, so where are you going to get the cholera?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Yeah, so he wanted to make sure he did it right. He didn't just find somebody who had cholera. He found somebody who died of cholera. Uh-huh. Got a sample of their diarrhea.
Yeah.
Mixed himself up a drink.
No, don't wait. Max Joe.
And he drank it.
No.
If it makes you feel better,
nothing can make me feel better.
By the end of the disease,
I'm in hell.
By the end of the disease process, it actually has turned your stool into like what they describe as rice water.
Wait,
so
has it turned it into a mojito?
No,
has it turned it into cherry Kool-Aid? Because it's not
water with flecks of intestine in it. You know, it's not really. It doesn't look like poop anymore.
bad thoughts. So how could you? I can't. Why, Max Joe? Max Joseph, please come back to me, please.
Here's what's crazy.
What's crazy? Stick go on. I have some theories. Maybe drinking the poo-poo of a dead man. Perhaps, like my man Max Joe did. Perhaps drinking a dead man's poo-poo. That's not great. Go on. What did he do afterwards? Just ate a whole cheesecake. Just get nuts. What could he do that's gonna be crazier than drinking a dead man's poo-poo?
He didn't really get that sick.
Not as sick as I am right now. In one of the great ironies.